So I wish I had been able to capture that, but I couldn't quite start quickly enough. There was a bunch of like crows or ravens or something squawking so loudly. I can still kind of hear them, but I don't know if you can. But it happened as I was thinking about parasites. So I had like a session yesterday where someone was telling me all about their experience with like actual little worms in their body, parasites, and how they were like cleansing from them and all this stuff. And I don't know anything about that, but I've heard people talk about it. And I also had a session yesterday, like that was a session where I was working with someone, and I had my own therapy session yesterday where I do parts work. And I had a part that is like very dependent on others, like needs to lie and manipulate to get help, who thinks if we are like authentic and honest and empowered that no one's going to help us and then we're going to be in danger. So I was trying to figure out like what is the name of that part, or what is the age of that part, or what is whatever, and I couldn't really get anything clearly. Usually my parts are like a certain age, from my own personal history. But the thing that I could get most clearly about this part was the idea that they're like a parasite, okay? So I was thinking, what is a parasite? And like, what is the issue with a parasite? Why do I have a problem if there's a parasite, okay? And I was realizing that, I know the sound is like, there's lots going on here. I'm trying to tuck myself away in the little backyard here. Okay. So the issue with parasites is they're going to suck you dry, right? So the issue with a parasite is that there's not enough, okay? Because if there was an infinite supply of blood or sugar or whatever the parasites are looking for, then you'd be like, sure, tag along. Kind of like, you know how there's those sharks and they have the little sharks that are not little fish that ride on top of them, and they like feed off of the algae that that gets on the shark's body, and it's like helpful for the shark because then the shark doesn't have like sores from this algae, and so the shark is like, yes, please eat the algae, and the fish is like, oh, thank you, I really want to eat the algae because that's what helps me survive. So they're like, what's the word for that? They're like mutually beneficial. So what makes that different from a parasite is that the parasite is taking something that you don't feel like you have enough of to share, right? It doesn't feel like it's benefiting you, but it also feels like it could be harming you, okay? So if I were able to think of, and this is what my therapist suggested, like think of not me having to feed off of the other people who I'm trying to manipulate into helping me by making them like feel bad for me or presenting myself as a victim or as a dependent. That if I were able to say like, let me give you what you need, me being my higher self. And then I was thinking more about it, and I was thinking like, that sounds too hard. I don't want to be the parent who's taking care of the parasite. But then I was thinking, what if I allow them to feed off of like higher self, meaning universal consciousness, which is God, which is infinity, which never runs out and is not going to feel like victimized because God, or infinity, as my kid calls God, is never ending. Okay, so I was like, all right, if the parasite is feeding, if I say like, take as much as you want from God, then they're no longer a parasite. They're just like another thing or aspect of reality that is ultimately only able to get energy or whatever from God, just like me. So they're not like a problem anymore or like dangerous. They're just like me, trying to receive from the infinite source. And the word that I've really been loving lately, that's it's not, it's three words. The concept that I've been loving lately and really wanting to experience is being a source to self, or I don't know how, self-resourced, like a source to self, so that I am giving myself, not in like a money or food kind of way, but like in a spiritual kind of way. Like I'm not looking for security or reassurance or approval or um, love or someone to take care of me outside of myself. And so when I was thinking about this parasite thing, I was thinking, like, actually, maybe the parasite is not the bad guy. Maybe the parasite is showing how, like, the dependency isn't the problem. It's the dependency on the limited resource that is makes it a parasite. If you're dependent on an infinite resource, then you're not a parasite, and it doesn't harm anyone, and it probably is mutually beneficial. So maybe Source loves to provide, um, and that's interesting. I just thought about the concept of resources. It's like the source is like resourcing. I want to think about that more. Anyways, I think maybe reframing the parasite concept is going to be helpful for me so that I can see these parts of myself as resourcing. Like they're trying to get it from other people because they're confused, but if they just resource it from source, and if I can remember that I'm just resourcing from source and that neither of us are parasites, we're both just a part of this dynamic, that the receiving is required and the receiving from outside of source is a limited thing, and receiving from source is the unlimited. Okay. Did that make any sense? I love you.